prefers to watch TMZ over the DNC. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on the choice. We're going to mandate. Get it on. Welcome, comedian and influencer and entrepreneur, Terrence K. Williams. Good to see you, Terrence.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. This is an absolute honor. I appreciate it.
Well, it is my pleasure. The Terrence K. Williams Show is the name of the show. It's available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and more. I'll tell you more about websites and things like that. But your story's inspirational. Started off 15 years in foster care in the system.
Yeah, so I'm from Oklahoma City, born and raised. My mother, unfortunately, she was addicted to cocaine. And she had 9 children that she was unable to take care of because of her drug addiction. And there were like 6 different fathers. And none of those guys were in the picture. And so I remember, I believe, and not only that, my mother not only had 9 children, my sister at the time, my oldest sister at the time was 13 with 2 children.
Whoa.
She had her first one at 11. She had her second.
Wait a minute. First one at 11. Your older sister.
She was
11. You were how old?
When she had her first child at 11, I was 1 year old, and my mother was on her. I am the 5th child. My mother was on her 6th child at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So they were pregnant at the same time.
Your 11-year-old sister was pregnant at the same time your mother was.
Whenever my mom was on her 6th child, when she was pregnant with her 6th child, I was the 5th oldest.
Now, yeah. So what I want to, always the first thing that pops in my head is, I'm from L.A. essentially, the San Fernando Valley. Mm-hmm. So I've always felt like I've lived in modern times, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the math on you, and this is essentially, 1997 or something like that for you. Or you said you were 1. I'm sorry.
So I was born in 1991.
91. Or sorry. So
I was born in 91. Yes.
So this is 92 for you.
Yes.
But this feels like sharecropper shit from 1871. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's the life anybody really want, you know.
No, it isn't. But what I'm saying is to people who grow up in Los Angeles and in what we consider modern times, especially in the 90s, the notion that this is going on in modern times feels very disconnected from how I grew up.
Yeah, I mean, for some people, they say it sounds like it comes straight out of a movie.
Yes.
But that was my life, though. And so my sister had her 2nd child at 13.
How is it? Okay. Yeah. Is it? How physically possible is it to get pregnant at 11? Like biologically,
it is possible. She's not the only one.
No, I know, but man, and that percentile's got to be small. But we shouldn't do a lot of vigorous testing. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, I don't think anybody should be having a child at 11 years old.
So, and then another one at 13.
And another one at 13. Now, and my sister. So she played the role of my mother at the time, though.
The pregnant 11-year-old.
Exactly. And that's probably, that's most likely why she ended up, with children so young, because my mom would run off and my sister would be left with all of the kids. So she was essentially, she called us her kids as well. But
right. Now what became of her?
What became of her? Well, she ended up having 5 children. She's doing great now.
Oh, that's good.
But she didn't finish. She didn't finish school, elementary. She stopped there, and she eventually got into a lot of trouble growing up. And she didn't go to the foster care system like I did. When my mother had kicked her out before we went to the system. So she was already out on her own after she had her 2nd child. But my sister ended up, going through a very hard life. And her first child he ended up in prison at the age of 14. And so, he's a year younger than me. So I'm 32. He's 31. He's been in there since he was 14.
Since he was 14?
Yeah, since he was
For
14.
murder?
Yeah, murder. Yeah, murder. Yeah, he got involved in gangs, but but she had her children at a young age. So you have children raising children,
right?
And so she had a very tough life. She ended up, losing, her kids to the system because he got in trouble, and then some other ones got in trouble too, and then she ships, some off with our grandmother who's passed away. But now she's doing better now. Now she has done a complete turnaround. She's changed her life around. And I believe she's going to school now. She's going to school, and yeah.
So I know you have conservative values. Sometimes probably conflict with certain folks in your community. I guess I would say.
Yeah, most definitely.
Although more black community members, I feel like, are coming around because they're all. Yeah. The thing about the black community, they're like
conservative values.
They're like Hispanics. Yeah, they are conservative by nature.
And
or I don't mean by nature, but you know what I'm saying. They're religious based. They're family based. They're not down with the whole trans community and stuff.
Exactly.
They should be conservative.
Oh, I mean, you want to talk? They're most definitely not down with the trans community. I can tell you that now. I never identified as a conservative or a Republican. That was I was labeled as that when I started speaking out.
Well, that's a process of elimination.
Exactly.
You don't have to make a proclamation.
Exactly.
You have to just not be down with the trans community, right. And then you shall be a Republican.
Yeah, you're right. But a lot of people are surprised. How did you turn out to be a conservative coming from the background that I come from? Well, a lot of the foster homes that I was in, a lot of those foster parents, they were conservative, church-going people, and they were well, at that time, trans talk wasn't even a talk. I didn't know.
No, you're talking about a Pontiac Trans Am, if there's any trans talk at all back then.
Exactly. But they were real old school, and had strong conservative values. My first foster home, we went to church every day. Every day we went to church.
Every day.
Every Monday was cleanup day. Tuesday was pastor appreciation.
And when you say foster home, you mean a foster family.
A foster family, yeah. So, a foster family. Yeah.
All right, so let's try to figure this out. Because I have conservative values as well, but they're really just pragmatic values, hard work, education, all that. Stop blaming everyone, stop externalizing, stop worrying about a bunch of external factors you can't control and just outwork everyone. And no better country than America to do that, and you will be successful. But
the greatest country.
I come from so people say, well, with your background, they're going like, you're black. Your mom is black, your brothers and sisters are black. Why do you think this way? I come from a progressive sort of LA type family, and I got a front row seat to their bullshit and saw how it didn't work.
Yeah. You
guys sitting around getting welfare, getting food stamps. I sat there at the store while my mom was arguing with the guy behind the counter at the store to buy cat food with food stamps, and the guy was going, you can't buy cat food with food stamps. And I remember being embarrassed, and my mom was like getting emotional, and I was like, I don't want this fucking life of getting food stamps. And by the way, always complaining, you don't get enough welfare to, you have to get a job. You have to get a job.
Work.
You have to work. And I got a good look at it. It was like, I want out. I'm not going down this road.
Who would want that kind of life?
But when they go, well, you're born into the black community. You saw firsthand how this shit didn't work.
Yeah.
So why aren't there more people like you, I guess is what I'm saying.
Because people are lazy. People don't want to work. That's why. It is easier to blame. It is easier to go on. It is easier to spend your whole life blaming everybody for everything, making excuses. That is the easiest thing to do. The hardest thing to do is to get up off your ass and work.
Yes.
Get off the damn couch and work. If you want it, go get it. This is literally the land of the opportunity.
Yes.
And people do not take that opportunity. They just, like a lot of people want handouts.
Yeah, I see. I'm angry. Gimme. I'm not as angry at people because people will take the path of least resistance, sadly, mostly. Not all, when given the opportunity. You know what I mean? Like if somebody said, look, I can't find a place to park in this whole Costco. There's no place to park. There's one parking space. It's on the other side of the parking lot. It's 102 degrees outside. Where the hell am I going to park? And then someone goes, look, there's a handicap space up front, but you don't need a plaque. But if you use that space, you got to kind of limp when you get out of the car. 9 out of 10 people go like, so I just limp when I get out of the car and I can park right up by the front door there in the air conditioning? Yeah, but you got to limp. They would do it. We can't give them that opportunity. You know what I mean? And, and when I hear the folks talk about treating everyone with dignity and these people need to come here and be treated with compassion and we need sanctuary cities and stuff, it's like, oh, you're giving them the opportunity. You have no plan. Yeah. But you're giving them the opening to go park in that space.
And you're condoning illegal activity.
Yeah, so people are kind of weak. To me, I was just watching Joe Biden at the DNC last night, and we have him. He goes to that Charlottesville. He gives this goddamn racist speech every time someone puts a microphone in front of his face. If he worked at the drive-thru at In-N-Out Burger at the counter, he would lean into the mic and go, give me your order, please. And by the way, when I saw those Klansmen with the veins bulging in their neck holding tiki torches in Charlottesville, every single speech he gives is essential. Like, my joke is, when Biden's out, who's going to agitate black people? Right. And I guess Kamala Harris will take over. But every single speech, he gives this speech about something that has been disproven and debunked. But he does it. All right, we'll hear it. Sorry. This is last night. Sorry.
I ran for president in 2020 because of what I saw in Charlottesville in August of 2017. Extremists coming out of the woods, carrying torches, their veins bulging.
I can do the speech now. I can do the speech now because I've heard him do it so many times.
Chanting the same exact anti-Semitic bile that was heard in Germany in the early 30s. Neo-Nazis.
All right, hold on a second.
I'm scared.
Okay, first things first. Who's outside of the DNC right now flying Hamas's flag? Is that the Klan or is that your buddies? Those are the people on your side of the aisle, Joe. Who's out there cheering for Hamas right now while you're talking about the Klan? Is it the Klan? No, it's his side. All right, we'll keep it playing. Sorry, it's good.
Early 30s. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, so emboldened by a president then in the White House that they saw as an ally.
He's my friend.
They didn't even bother to wear their hoods.
Maybe it was hot.
Hate was on the march in America.
Hate was on the march.
Old ghosts and new garments, stirring up the oldest divisions, stoking the oldest fears, giving oxygen to the oldest forces that they long sought to tear apart America.
All right, pause it for a second. So his plan was, I stood up and decided to do something about it, which is run for president, and then every speech I'll explain to black people why white people don't want them here.
Exactly.
That's not going to do anything to agitate the black folk?
Fear-mongering. That's how they win. That is how they win. He wanted this speech to scare the hell out of black people.
What?
He want people to fear Donald Trump. But this is the same shit that they were pushing in 2016.
They never stopped. Listen.
His story's getting... Actually, I was about to fall asleep. It's putting me to sleep now. It's so boring. It's the same old damn story.
Listen, they were calling Mitt Romney a racist 10 minutes ago. It didn't matter. Right. Whoever runs against him's a racist.
But now they love Mitt Romney.
Oh, yeah. He's not a racist anymore.
Yeah. Now Mitt Romney is their ally.
He quit being a racist when he was 61 and a half. Did you guys know that? I'm thinking about making a move in the next couple of years. All right, we'll just hear the end where he goes into his lie now.
Long sought to tear apart America. In the process, a young woman was killed. When I contacted her mother, I asked about what happened. She told me. When the president was asked what he thought had happened, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides. My God." That's what he said.
He ad-libbed that.
That is what he said and what he meant.
All right, dingbats. It's been disproven. There's videos. You can watch the video. And by the way, why would you say good people on both sides if you're just siding with the Nazis?
Exactly.
All right, Jesus Christ, this guy's just been lying about
this.
But
they don't give a damn about the truth. They know that's a lie.
I get it. I'm just saying, I hope and I think that the black community is starting to wake up to the rhetoric of the white people who claim they're going to do something for you, and it never happened.
I do believe a lot of them are waking up. Look, Kamala Harris does not have the same black support as Barack Obama had. Right. Barack Obama literally had, people were worshiping Barack Obama. People literally removed their pictures of Jesus and replaced it with Barack Obama. Yeah. They love Barack Obama. But Kamala Harris is not getting that same support. All the fear mongering is not working with everybody. It's not working like it worked in the past. People are realizing, okay, you guys said Donald Trump was going to send black people back to Africa in 2016. Y'all said he was going to put us in chains. Did it happen? It did not happen. So they're saying the same thing. So, I mean, they literally think the black community, they think everybody in the black community is stupid enough to believe these lies every single time.
Yes, it's called the soft bigotry of low expectations.
Exactly.
They think black people are stupid.
Exactly, and that's why Kamala needs to hire rappers to come shake their asses at a concert. I mean, basically it wasn't even a rally; it was a concert.
Yeah, was that Cardi B?
It was Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, Megan Thee Stallion.
She'll have Cardi B up there next. You know, her and Megan Thee Stallion. They made that song. You know what it's called?
Oh, WAP.
Yeah, WAP. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that wet ass,
Yeah, wet ass pussy.
Yeah. So Cardi B will soon be at one of Kamala Harris's rallies singing that damn song. But they literally need she is begging black people, and I've heard she's been reaching out to a lot of black influencers, podcasters have exposed Kamala Harris's team for reaching out to them to collaborate with her in a form of, but paying them in cash money. Oh. She needs to pay people to support her because nobody, imagine being that unlikable. Adam, imagine having to call me and say, Terrence, I will give you $10,000 in cash to get on TV and say, I'm a great person. That means you are fucking terrible. That means you are terrible.
I was thinking about Biden constantly talking about the Klan, and which I'm not sure exists in any meaningful numbers. I've never seen anybody in the Klan or know anybody in the Klan. Nobody outside there fighting with cops is in the Klan, and Asians walking in Manhattan and getting punched by randos aren't rando Klan members. So. But I was thinking about that M. Night Shyamalan, right? M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah. He had a movie called The Village. And it's a little before your time. But you thought it was a whole group of people that lived in this village in olden, sort of thinking it was olden times, but it was modern times. And there was a fake beast that just circled around, and it kept them all in together in this village, maybe on the plantation, as they would say. But it turned out to be just a guy with a puppet, and it was just there to scare everyone, to keep them where they were and thinking the same way and acting the same way and not wandering off into the forest. And I thought, I think that's what Biden does with the Klan. That's what the Democrats do with the Klan. There's this thing called the Klan, except for we don't really know where they are, who they are, and they don't have any effect on anyone's daily life. But as long as you keep evoking this thing, it'll keep people scared enough to go, well, I guess we need to stay here with these people. And that's what the plot of The Village is.
Right. Now, if anybody knows about the Klan, it's Joe Biden. His racist ass. Now, wasn't he the one who gave a eulogy at Robert Byrd's funeral? But they said, oh, but Robert was not a racist anymore. He asked for forgiveness. He began to like black people. He stopped being racist. I don't give a shit. He did the eulogy at literally a former leader of the KKK.
When he is at his most racist when he does his little slip of the tongue. Like he'll go, black entrepreneurs are just as smart as white ones. They just don't have access to attorneys and accountants. And, you know, black kids are as smart as poor kids. But I mean, poor white kids are as smart as poor kids, and black kids are as smart as poor kids. You know, like he's in his head. He's just thinking these stupid people cannot get along.
They literally said we don't know. They literally said we don't. Black people do not know how to use a computer. Are you fucking kidding me?
I know.
I am begging. Listen, I don't even black people. I don't care who you vote for. I'm not going to tell black people who to vote for. But what I will tell black people is do not allow these people to disrespect you in your face like that.
Well, let me, you're uniquely qualified to ask, fine. You can find Kathy Hochul saying that, Dawson.
Yes, it was Kathy.
And you can also find the black entrepreneurs are just as good as white entrepreneurs. And there's a good one with the black kids are smart as poor kids or something. But
and then there was then Kamala was talking to someone about giving giving loans to black business owners, and she was like, yeah, she was talking about, oh yeah, you know, these black business owners, you know, with their barbershops and what?
Right. Yeah.
That's
a movie.
What the fuck?
All right. Well, listen to Kathy Hochul. It's just fun. But this is I come from these people. Super progressive white chicks think. They look at themselves as zookeepers, and you guys are the animals in the zoo, and they have to take care of you. And if you ever hop over the fence and kill a zebra, that's because they didn't make the fence high enough. They don't blame you because they don't think of you as human.
It's never your fault.
Right. Here it is.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
That's that one. We'll find the other ones. But here's a question for you, Terrence, that you're uniquely qualified to answer. I haven't asked too many black people this question, but I have asked a couple.
Okay.
Does it not bother you that these people talk like you're a fucking imbecile? Does that not bother you? Because if people did that, like if I'm Italian American, and then when there's Italian Americans, they're not able to start businesses because they don't know stuff.
Yeah.
You know, or they don't know what a computer is, or I would go, fuck off, man. That is insulting to me.
That's exactly what I've been saying.
They can't get IDs. These Italian Americans, they can't go to the DMV and get an ID like you and I. They're not, you know, smart enough to figure that out.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why aren't there more black people going, this is totally insulting?
You know what? I think there are a lot of black people who don't even know about this clip that we just listened to. I think there are.
Well, they don't have TVs.
Yeah, right. I don't even know. What is this in front of me? What is this?
We call it a monitor.
What is this?
That's a microphone.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, we take your voice and we capture it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I think a lot of black people, a lot of black people probably haven't seen clips like this at all.
No, that is true.
You know, but if you show them these things, a lot of black people would be offended. To say that black people don't know what the word computer is, we are living in the digital age. Are you freaking stupid?
Yeah.
Like, they probably they think we don't know what a remote is. They probably like what the hell is wrong with these people? Like I think it's racist. That's what it is. It's not that they just think. I think it's a form of them being racist, to be honest.
Well, it shows what they think of you.
Yeah.
Which is you're not
Which they think we're
capable,
dumb.
you're not up to the challenge.
Exactly.
It's like sort of anyone who has a friend who's kind of a little on the slower side, and someone will go, why don't you have him pick us all up and then take us to the airport? And you go, Carl's not, I don't think he's the right guy for that job. Like, what you're really saying is Carl's kind of dumb.
Right.
And he's a little lazy, and he's just not going to be able to pull it off.
Exactly. And that's where the DEI stuff come into play, too.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Even if you don't qualify, we still should just give you this position, this job, because you probably wouldn't be able to get it, you know.
Well, I got to reverse DEI, and I mean, you can argue or poke holes in it. And when you get those other clips, Dawson or whatever, or do we know we're looking for them? Sometimes I throw stuff out. Yeah. You know which ones you're looking for?
Oh, are you looking for the black kids or poor kids, white kids?
That one's good, and
the voter ID.
The entrepreneur one is good too.
Okay.
Like they don't have access to lawyers and accountants.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thought. You ready? All right. In the NFL right now, the cornerbacks, every starting cornerback on every team is probably black at this point in that particular position. Only been a handful of white guys, maybe Jason Sehorn or somebody like that, who rolled through the league. But it's a black man's job, you know. And so, how many teams are there? 31 teams. How many? 32. 32 teams. And the 32 teams, so they're all black. And 2 times 32 is 64. I'll do that math for you, brother, because you know I have access to accountants. So
and a calculator.
There's 64 black guys in this position. So what if I just showed up and I said, hey, listen, we need some diversity here, you know? And by the year 2035, I'd like it to be about 30 or 40% white guys playing cornerback in the NFL. You'd go, well, we'll try them out, but these guys run about a 4.3, 4.4 40, you know? And the white guys, they don't really do the 4.3 40s. And they'd go, well, why don't we change the times then for white guys a little bit? Make it like a 4.7. And you're like, well, okay, but they're not going to be as good at cornerback running a 4.7 as a guy who runs a 4.3.
Right.
Well, we can't attract enough white guys to this position because none of them can run a 4.3. So why don't we make it 4.7 for the white guys?
Yeah.
And then you'd be going, well, isn't that going to fuck the game up pretty badly? Listen, 40% white corners. Our target is 40% white by 2035. So you got about 10 years to work on this. And you'd go, well, we just want the fastest, best corner, so we're not going to do that. And then I'd go, oh, well, that's interesting because you're looking to build a new stadium, aren't you? Yeah. You want money from the government to build that new stadium? Yeah. Well, we're not going to give you the money unless you implement this new DEI white corners in the NFL thing. And then you're like, but what happens when the 4.7 slow white guy gets out on the edge with the 4.3 receiver who's so interested? Don't worry about it. We're only going to take the good white guys. Well, what would you have? First off, you'd have the whole game would slow down. Number one. Number two, you'd have a lot of white guys getting burned.
Right. Well, then they say this. Well, even if you lose, you are still a winner.
Because we've reached our goal of 40% white guys playing corner.
Yes.
All right. We have both clips. We have the white kids, poor kids. It's really just Biden's brain is addled. And so when your brain is addled, things pop out of it.
Yeah.
Like, everybody who's at a nursing home, every nurse at a nursing home just goes, that old guy he grabs my ass when I walk by. And it's like, yeah, he wanted to do that when he was in his 40s, but his brain stopped him from doing it. Now he's 86 and his brain
you don't care anymore.
His brain can't stop his hand.
Yeah.
All right, so listen to Biden on poor kids.
And the other thing we should do is we should challenge these students. We should challenge students in these schools to have advanced placement programs in these schools. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids,
and then they clap.
Asian kids.
Right.
No, I really mean it. But think
by the way, you've always, you fucked up when you start piling on other cultures. Where you go, let me tell you, the problem I see in the community is the black kids and the Asian kids and the Jewish kids and the Eskimo kids. Like when you stop and then start piling on.
And he never corrects himself. Never.
No. Okay, now we have our black entrepreneur one, which is good too.
the goal I've set is 50% increase in the number of minority contracts going to minority firms by the year 2025.
White corners.
Because, folks, what we learn? We learn there's no difference between a black entrepreneur and a white entrepreneur in success, except the black entrepreneur usually doesn't have a lawyer, usually doesn't have someone who is going to be there, an accountant to get it all.
Yeah, can't get that. Where would you find a lawyer if you were black?
Right.
I feel like I've seen a lot of brothers with lawyers over my years. I know Mark Garagos.
So he's basically saying that black people don't file their taxes.
I don't know.
Because he said black people don't know how to get an accountant. So I guess black people don't file their taxes.
I am saying this. When Gavin Newsom was in here explaining to me that black people and Latino people don't have access to checking accounts, I'm like, in modern times, if you do not have a checking account, it's because you do not want a checking account because you do not want the federal government and the state government taking 50% of everything you own. The guys selling flowers up by Forest Lawn and the guys selling ghetto dogs out front of the Bitcoin Center, whatever it is, the crypto center.
Yeah, the crypto center.
They may not have checking accounts because they do not want to be on the books because they know you assholes are going to take half their income. So it's not their fault, or it is their fault, but it's not because they don't have access to it. It's because they don't want it because they're getting paid in cash. Some checking accounts
are free. You can open up a free one.
Okay.
You can go to the credit union.
I'm just saying, if you're black or Latino and you have Gavin Newsom explaining you can't get something or an ID, you should be insulted.
Yes, and that's what they're saying out there in Georgia, too. Black people do not know how to go get an ID. They even said black people don't even know how to Google where to find one. Are you freaking kidding me? You mean I don't know how to get on a computer
you don't know what a computer
type out
is.
Where can I get an ID? An ID is the easiest thing to get. You can get a state ID. Hell, you can go get a damn library card ID. You can get an ID from. I mean, it's so easy to get.
Well, here's the reality.
'Cause look at all the liquor stores in the black communities.
Let's just say this. Let's pretend you cared about the black community, not you and I, but the official that's talking about not having IDs. Like if my son, who's now 18, said, I'm going to try to go through life without an ID. I would say, son, you're not going to make it too far. We need to get you an ID. You're not going to be able to participate in society. You're not going to be able to travel. You're not going to be able to attend the DNC.
Right.
They want an ID before you enter the DNC. So they want to know who you are. You're not going to be able to do anything without an ID. So I'm going to make this appointment at the DMV for next Wednesday, and you're coming with me. I'll take you down there and do it. So what I'm saying is if these people actually gave two shits about the black community and really thought it was an issue that they didn't have IDs or couldn't get access to IDs, then they would go, this is a big problem because this person's not going to be able to buy airline tickets, not going to check into a hotel, not going to be able to go to the DNC, not going to do anything. So we need to figure out how to fix this. We need to take ID vans to the black community and sign people up. You would hear a fix. You would hear stories about it. I never hear what the solution is. It's just these people don't have ID. Right. It's made up.
All made up.
And they know it's made up. That's what I'm saying.
It is all made up. But like, I really do want a lot of black people to wake up and realize that these people on the other side, these people on the left, they think black people are ignorant and stupid and worthless.
And they just think they can scare them into doing what they want.
Scare them, exactly.
So how do it, and to me, Your family. Oh, man. I wonder what your family has cost the government.
Has cost the government?
Yeah. Incarceration.
Yeah.
Foster system. You know, you think about one person that just goes through the system.
Yeah.
You got court-appointed attorneys. You got judges. You got bailiffs. You got the van that drives them from the court to the thing. You know, you got
to eat.
You got the prison guards. Everything from toilet paper to food to guards. I mean, just think about one person going through the system, you know, 12, 13, in and out of the system, and then at some point incarcerated for life. That one person has to cost millions of dollars.
Yeah, but that ain't on me.
No, not on you. Not on you. I'm just saying each one of those people has to just cost society millions of dollars.
Yes, and even kids being in foster care.
Right.
Because at the time, they shut the shelter down, but in Oklahoma City there was a children's shelter that we went to, but now they have like these group homes. But at the time, I was in a children's shelter, which was ran like a prison.
Really?
It was ran like a prison. You had women on one side, you had the girls on one side, the boys on the other side, and then in the mornings, in the mornings you have to line up in the hallway. And there's a guy at the end of the hallway, and he is standing at a closet. You walk up, and he pull out some blue jeans, and he put them up to your waist. You can fit these, and give you a white T-shirt. And
how long were you in there?
And you go get your hygiene box. And well, I was in and out, so I would be in a shelter, and then I go to a foster home. Then I go back to my mom. Then like a week later, I mean, literally, like my mother would get us. She would get me back. And then I'd be back in the shelter like a week later.
Because your mom would get high or take off or whatever?
She would get high, take off. She'd do things like take us to go visit someone, and she'd be gone for a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She literally did that. Hey, I'm about to go to the store. Like, really, I'm going to go to the store. And she's gone for a month.
Do you know your biological dad?
Yes. I met him about... Yes, I am 32. I met him when I was like 20. I met him like when I was like 25. Now I have talked to him on the phone before that, but I didn't meet him until I was like 25.
And your mom, what became of her?
My mom she's off of drugs now.
Oh, that's good.
She's off of drugs. She's working. She's doing she's like an assistant living care person. You know, like she's like she is a caregiver. Yeah, so she's doing that. She's doing the in-home caregiving. So she goes, you know, from home to home, taking care of people. So that's what she's doing. So that's good for her, you know.
Do you keep track of all the siblings?
It's too many of us. It's 9 of us, and then I got my adopted sibling. It's a lot of people.
Adopted, yeah. So did you... Tell me the feeling you had growing up, because I've tried to figure this out with people. I grew up raised with my mom and my dad. They got divorced and sort of unconventionally raised. But I did not get abandoned.
Yeah.
You know? Now, my parents raised us, sort of, but they weren't fans of their kids. They weren't that into their kids. Like I was sort of raised by 2 people that were like, not that into me. And I knew it. I knew it early and often. Like I was sort of a pain in the ass. They'd rather be left alone. And so then you go people that got adopted or got into foster care, and you go, oh, that sounds horrible because your dad left or your mom left. But then you go, but somebody wanted you.
Right.
So that's got to feel like something. It's not your biological parents that wanted you. That's devastating.
Yeah.
But some other family who's not wanted you, and that's got to feel good, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, you know, well, the thing is, like, it is tough bouncing from home to home. Now, when you start at an earlier age, I mean, I'm not saying it was not easy at all. It was tough, you know, because I went through all the emotions, you know, especially like as I got older. But when you start, I mean, I remember starting my first foster home when I going into my first foster home. I wasn't even in kindergarten yet. I had started kindergarten, and in my very first foster home. So that was pretty early. So it was just my life at that point. I got used to it, right? You know, but like when you are older, like for instance, like some of my siblings who were older, they actually deal with it. You know, they actually have a harder time still dealing with what we all went through because they dealt with that at an older age. Yeah. I was like born into it almost, you know. So I mean, to me, it was almost normal, you know. Yeah. Like this place, this shelter I'm going to, this is normal. I don't really know what is going on. But then as I got older, I started to understand more, and I'm like, damn. Like, this is crazy, you know?
Was a shelter a scary place? Because a lot of kids might want to act out. Well,
there was this one Hispanic guy. He punched me in the throat. He was a bully. Now they eventually got rid of him. They shipped him off somewhere else. But he was like the bully in the whole building. And I was real young too. This guy was like a teenager, and I was watching TV. And he told me, he said, "Move your big head out the way." And I turned around and said, "Shut up." And he socked me in the throat. I was choking. I mean, it was some terrible shit. But yeah, so he was like the scary person there. But other than that, I mean, I was used to it. I was in and out of that place, you know. So it wasn't really that scary. I mean, the only thing that I didn't like at that time was when I would whenever you go to the shelter, they take all of your personal belongings. You know, you can't wear the clothes like that you come with. The clothes that you bring, they put it in a black bag and they put it in some like storage. But then if there's a foster family coming to get you, they're supposed to give you all of your personal belongings back. Well, 9 times out of 10, those personal belongings have been lost. So that was the only thing I hated. I'm like, where the hell is my damn dinosaur bracelet? I'm wigging out, you know? Right. And so, I mean, like, that was my main, like, that was the main thing that I worried about. I was like, oh, I really hope I can keep this.
Did you go off campus to go to school when you were there?
No.
Oh, no.
No, so I did get behind. So I was behind a year, but I did not go off. No, I never. No, we did school in there, I believe.
Your school was there.
Was there? Yeah. You're reading books here. You're doing this here.
Yeah, but, you know, my dad did that for a living for 10 years. I was the director of education in a foster home.
Oh, okay.
And I went to visit a time or two, and some of the kids would go off to school, like the local school, in the morning. But if they were troublemakers or acting out or couldn't really work outside of that, they had to go to school inside.
Yeah, I don't ever remember going to school. When I was in the shelter, I never remember going to school outside of that place. Now, I went to school once I got to a foster home, but we did go on field trips. You know, so that was pretty cool. We did stuff like that, or we had people come up to the shelter and
give me the field trip. What were some of the field trips you went on?
Going swimming, the zoo, things like that. You know, just the same type of field trips you would go on if you were going on a school field on a school field trip. So it's the exact same thing. Yeah. And that's if everybody was acting on their best behavior. Because, you know, they did play that game. If anybody acts up today, then you mess it up for everybody, then nobody goes on a trip. Yeah. You know, I hated that shit. I'm like, let him stay. Like,
well, how did comedy come along for you? Because this doesn't feel like the fertile soil of comedy, but when does that start to creep into your life?
You know what? I became a class clown. So growing up, I really couldn't talk. I had a very bad speech impediment, where, you know, I had which I speak way better than what I used to. I had a speech therapist. I used to stutter, so I could not get a word. I used to do like a lot of pausing. I could not talk. I couldn't, you know, I couldn't talk at all. So once I was able to start talking, I couldn't stop. And I couldn't stop. I did nothing but just talk, laugh, joke around, and I just naturally became funny. And my teachers used to call me Motor Mouth because I wouldn't stop talking. So that was probably the worst thing that the speech therapist could do was help me to talk, because I haven't stopped talking since. And I enjoyed it so much that I just started saying the craziest shit. And I mean, it just happened naturally. And a lot of people were telling me, Terrence, you should do comedy. And at first I didn't want to. I was like, because I still stutter from like time to time. And at first I was like, I don't know if I should get on stage. What if I start stuttering? What if people notice that I have a speech impediment? So at first I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not about to get on stage and then I start stuttering. But I eventually did it though, which I do really great on stage. But yeah, I just started doing it, and people, and then I had blew up on Facebook, and a lot of people, and I just went super viral on Facebook. I made a video. It was like my first time making a video. My first time making a video, and it was also a live video. That video had garnered over 7 million views within 2 days, and it was my first time doing a video.
Wow!
I don't know how it went. Somebody knew somebody that had a big platform and shared it with them, because I don't know how that thing took off, because I didn't have followers at all. And a lot of people were like, "Damn, you should do comedy," and I was like, "Yeah, I should do that." I was calling around some places, and I was like, I should do it, and I was like, okay, let me try to do some shows, and I actually didn't even do open mic. I was just trying to get booked at a venue. I was trying to book a venue, and people were like, have you done comedy before? No, no, we can't, no, we cannot. We're not. We don't trust it, So I sold some of my electronics, and went out and got me a payday loan from one of those fast cash places. And I booked me a venue in Arlington, Texas. I was able to get out about 100 people, and I worked on some material, and then I just started doing my own shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
But I didn't make any money. And
because you don't have access to attorneys or accountants.
Or accountants. I was devastated. I was like, how am I pay? Everybody made money but me. I was like, what the hell where all this money go? After I paid everybody, I didn't have anything. But I did have people, but I did get people to come out. So I had proof that I can do it. But I didn't make any money at all. And so that was devastating. I said, I'm not doing this shit again. There's no way. I didn't sell my electronics. I had this payday loan. How am I pay this shit back? But I was like, you know what? I think I better try to do this again, because I need to pay this shit that I need to pay off this payday loan, and I don't need to give up, So now I know what mistakes I made, and I'm gonna do things differently. And then my second show, I made, I pocketed around $5,000.
Wow.
I netted around around 12,000, but I donated some to a foster care organization.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So that's what
I guess if anyone should cut them a check, it's
you. Yeah, exactly.
You wore their blue jeans and ate their powdered eggs for long enough.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. We got some news to do. Dawson's going to be doing that. So we're going to take a break, but if you're listening ad-free on Substack, well, then there will be no break for you. So subscribe over at Substack and listen ad-free over there. Dawson, right after this. Simply Safe. If you're like me, you think about safety, and you think about people. And that's who you value the most, because you can replace the watch or the necklace, but the people. And there's a lot of crime, especially going on here in L.A. I mean, every time you turn on the radio, some other celebrity got their home busted into, and those are just the ones they're reporting on. I've trusted Simply Safe to protect my home for over a decade now, and I've partnered with Simply Safe to offer my listeners 20% off a system. Just visit simplysafe.com/Adam. We all use it here. And when you pick up and move, you pick up your Simply Safe system and you move with it. It's not hardwired. They also have exclusive live guard protection. Simply Safe agents can act within 5 seconds of receiving your alarm and can even see and speak to the intruders inside of your home. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News & World Report 5 years running. And Best Customer Service by Newsweek. It is Simply Safe, right, Dawson?
Protect your home this summer with 20% off any new Simply Safe system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/Adam. That's simplysafe.com/Adam. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Let me tell you about Chime. Summer is a great time to build better credit because you're spending a lot. Let's face it, there's a lot to do during the summer. You're not huddled in, snowed in at home, watching your stories. Now you're out and about, spreading that money around, and that's why you need Chime. Chime, secured credit builder, Visa credit card. So it's a card for building credit. Start building credit with everyday purchases and regular on-time payments. No annual fees, interest, or credit check to apply. Use it everywhere Visa cards are accepted. No monthly minimum balance, no impact on your credit score to apply. Get paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit, so that's a plus. Plus, overdraft up to $200 without fees with SpotMe when you set up a qualifying direct deposit. Access 60,000 plus fee-free ATMs, more than the top 3 national banks combined. Pay anyone through Chime, whether they're a member or not, and cash out your money fee-free. It is Chime, right, Dawson?
With Chime's secure credit card, you can improve your credit scores all summer long. Get started today at chime.com/Adam. That's chime.com/Adam. Chime feels like progress. The Chime Credit Builder Visa Credit Card is issued by the Bancorp N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal and OTC advance fees may apply. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. Celebrating 15 years of podcasting, here's a memorable moment from the Adam Carolla Show's Ace Awards archives.
Everyone I know loves pineapple upside-down cake. Dawson.
Yeah, boss.
Do you like pineapple upside-down cake?
No, I do not.
All right, moving on. I knew he wouldn't. Let's find out here, Dawson, other than you, who enjoys pineapple upside-down cake. Now, I know Gary enjoys it quite a bit, because he did it. I enjoy it quite a bit. Joe?
Only eat it when it's around. I love it every time.
Okay, all right. So, let's just say out of 8 people, 7 people like it very much. Here's the next question. When is the last time any of us have eaten a piece of pineapple upside-down cake? And I think the over-under 7 years.
Last year.
Fucking Dawson.
Now, for some new memorable moments, let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Terrence K. Williams is in the studio. My mic's all right. Okay. Oh, God, it's so funny. Mike August is back there. He's listening. Mike did a move at a Chick-fil-A, and he just torpedoed this woman's drink order, which is perfect. Because the thing about fast food people, they're okay, but they're not smart enough to juggle 2 or 3 thoughts. You know what I mean? Or anybody who takes any food order. So what happens is if you're sitting there, if I go out to dinner with you, I don't want to go out to dinner with Dawson. I'll go out with Terrence.
Thank you.
I want to get pineapple upside-down cake for dessert. No, so what happens is if I go in there and I go, I'll have the BLT, but no mayo. They'll go like, okay, the BLT, no mayo. And then you go, the BLT sounds good, but I'll have extra mayo on mine. I'm like, all right, now I'm getting extra mayo. Yeah. Or you're not getting extra. We're screwed in one. We're not going to be able to do both these 2 things. These are 2 things.
You are right.
We can't do them up. So we got this guy, John Clay Wolf, the car guy, and he's got his wife, and he's great. He's flying us to Reno in his private jet, and blah, blah, blah. And we're on the way to the airport, and the wife, this is the wife of the rich guy with the private jet. She goes, I'll pull into the Chick-fil-A. I'm going to get a Sunjoy, which is basically an Arnold Palmer. Okay. But they didn't want to pay to clear Arnold Palmer, I think. So they called it a Sunjoy, right? And so she goes, oh, I love these things. And she's a woman, you know. So she goes, I'm going to have the Sunjoy with not the sweet tea, regular tea, Sunjoy, not the sweet tea. Because she's, you know, woman, probably counting her calories, you know. Then they point at me, and I go, I'll just have a coffee. Then the guy, John, orders a coffee. And then Mike goes, I'll have the Sunjoy, but with the sweet tea. And I was like, all right, Mike, now you just fucked her. You know that, right? So I just get it with the sweet, and she gets it, and it's like, all right, not going to work. And sure enough, they both come back with the sweet tea in it, and she's bitterly disappointed. But Mike got her from the back seat. I don't know what protocol is. I think you just have to go 2 of those. Because once you introduce the second thought,
makes sense.
We're screwed now, right. Because they're
you are right about that.
They used to just be dumb. Now they're dumb and looking at their phone, and they got an edible in them, and there's no way she's pulling off the 2 different Arnold Palmers.
It's kind of sad. Too many distractions.
But they need a race.
Right, but the comedy, that's true. The comedy is the person who's paying for the private jet flight to Reno, she got hers the way she didn't want it, and the guys that are flying free, we get ours the way we want it. Nice. Yeah. All right, what do you got, Dawson?
Yeah, before we get going, Terrence, man, I've never met somebody who was raised with such hurt and such pain, and then accept more pain and more hurt from the rest of the world just for speaking the truth.
And that's why I was built for it.
And it just speaks volumes to your constitution, Dad. You are an impressive individual, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's start with some good news, Adam, out of the New York Post. It appears that more women are waking up and realizing they can also drive trucks.
That's good.
They can be auto mechanics. Vocational school shot up 16% last year in women's enrollment. And the New York Post shares some stories. These are, pretty great. This one chick named Victoria Carl, and that name is important. She said, they told me I couldn't do it, so that's why I did it. She said she went to the guidance counselor, and he was like, you should just try to be a nurse or something. She's like, screw you, became an auto mechanic. Now she runs her own auto mechanic shop. She's very successful. She's hiring people, putting money into the system, and her name is Victoria Carl. Guess what she called the auto body shop?
Victory Car.
Victoria.
Carl's Automotive. Because she knows that no one is going to bring their car to Victoria's auto shop.
Nobody's going to Betty's.
They think they're selling like car-themed lingerie or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good point. My Victory car would work as well.
It would.
But this is good. Also, for women, they get a little extra added bonus because whether they become a framer or a pipe fitter, electrician, plumber, whatever, mechanic, they get a cool story. People like the cool story where people go, "Oh, you're plumber? Yes, that's right, I am." And they become a little talk of the job site, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of a when you're fish out of water, you get a little extra love.
You get a little respect.
Yeah.
If you were a Jewish cornerback in the NFL, there'd be a bunch of nicknames for you, and you would get endorsements that other guys wouldn't get, and it'd be kind of fun. It'd be kind of cool, right? So you get that.
Well, are these women real women or trans women?
These are, I'm going to say real women. It does not say trans anywhere in this.
No.
And they would identify it if they were.
They were, okay. I just have to ask because
you know what?
of the times we living in now.
These are real young women who went to trade school, started working, and are making 6 figures because they didn't waste their time on college.
Let me say this as well. When I used to be a carpenter, it was some back-breaking shit. You had to lug drywall around and tools. Everything wasn't, I don't want to say automated, but there was a lot of hand stuff and a lot of grunt work. And now they have a lot of stuff. Like you see guys walking around, you see like two guys and they're carrying a refrigerator, but they have that nylon strap that goes under it, and then it clicks into like both their belts. And it's like, what the fuck were we doing? We were dragging it on a piece of cardboard, shoving it upstairs. Like everything was like how the Egyptians built the pyramids with us. It's all just pure grunt force labor. Tools work now. They're cordless, battery operated. You don't need to be the lumberjack to do that job anymore. There's a lot more finesse to it now. Yeah,
you don't even need a measuring tape. You know, now they got these devices, these lasers.
Yeah,
So I think that's great. Next story coming out of the Telegraph.
We did hire a woman painter here once. Sucked.
Yeah.
Sucked ass. I'm like, I gave a whole speech inside of this studio going, listen to me, people. If you hire a painter and you walk up on that painter and you see them painting the wall with the roller with no extension on the roller and using a pan instead of a bucket with a screen in it, they have no fucking idea what they're doing as a painter. I gave a speech in here for about 20 minutes. I walked out, turned right, saw the woman I hired to paint this place standing there trying to paint the wall with no extension and using a pan and no roller. Took her 3 days to paint like 8 feet of wall, and we had to fire the bitch. But other than that, I'm all for the program. Let's not let my personal experience get in the way.
This next story is going to be interesting because there are several words in this story that will trigger you, Adam. And I think by the time I finish this opening sentence, you're going to be livid.
All right.
The parents of a schoolgirl with anxiety are battling for her therapy dog to be allowed in the classroom.
All right. Everybody would like their dog with them at all times.
Yes.
I would like to go to a dentist office, and while I was getting a filling, I'd like my left hand to be brushing the top of Phil, my dog's head. Yeah. I would. And I would like them on a flight, and I would like them in a movie theater. I would like them wherever Sam I Am liked his green eggs and ham.
Yeah.
I would like my dog Phil. I would.
Right.
But I realize there are other human beings on the planet, on the flight, in the movie theater, in the dentist's office, who may be allergic to Phil's dander or maybe just not appreciate Phil like me.
Oh, forget about the fact that if there was a dog that visited my school when I was in elementary school, I wouldn't get anything done because my entire focus would be on, holy shit, dude, there's a dog in here.
Right, well, that is true.
If you have an anxiety to the point where you can't leave the house without your dog, shouldn't we focus on your anxiety and figuring out ways to cure it instead of ways to sort of mask it? Because if you think about it's sort of like me going, well, listen, I have an anxiety about being outdoors, and that's what the heroin cures.
Yeah.
And then you'd go, well,
good job. All right.
I don't think you can have anxiety heroin with, I got a note from Dr. Drew. Like, well, I think we should address the problem of heroin addiction more than argue with people about why you get to shoot up in the classroom because you're bored or you feel anxiety. So my thing is if you truly cannot get on a commercial airliner without your dog, you need a lot of work and therapy. The answer isn't that's just true. Let them take their dog.
Right.
That's the answer. Anyway.
And I mean, I would imagine it's poor parenting from the beginning. They probably let their kid do everything with this dog. And now their dog has developed a dependence. The kid has the dependence on the dog.
Exactly.
Yes.
And they're just feeding into it more and more and more. And
There's way too much people announcing they have anxiety or what have you about everything all the time.
Yeah, you know how you cure anxiety?
Knock it
you
the
fucking
fuck
challenge
off.
yourself. Fucking get out there and get it done.
Exactly.
Oh, my God. I am telling you.
Quit being a wimp.
Get the fuck up.
Quit being a wimp.
I am telling you, Dr. Drew had a panic attack with me many years ago. I've told the story, but I'll tell it fast. We're taping a show for MTV. We had about 4 shows to tape in a day. 4 one-hour shows we used to tape in a day. Gang tape. I always have to hit the T hard on when I get to tape and the gang tape. So gang taping, and it was between show like third and fourth show or something. And I was sitting up there going, let's go, let's move, here we go. And I said, where is Drew? And all the producers ran out, and they said, he is in his dressing room, and he's having a panic attack, which evidently Jon Favreau gave him in the show before when Jon Favreau was explaining to him how AIDS works.
So that's what he's good for.
That's what he's good for. So I walk into Dr. Drew's dressing room, and he's breathing into a bag. A paper bag, and all of the producers are standing around going, oh my God, are you okay? Okay, and he's breathing. They're going, give him room, and he's breathing into this bag. Give him room, everybody. And I come walk in, and I go, what's going on? And they go, Drew, he's having a panic attack. And I said, listen, we got 2 more shows to do, and I got a dinner tonight. So we're going to get the fuck out of here. So get your ass and get it back up on the stage. And everyone looks at me and they go, he's having a panic attack. He's having a panic attack. Now leave him alone. Give him some room. And he's breathing into this bag, and they're getting him waters and stuff. And I said, listen to me, goddammit. You go out there and you sit on stage. You sit. Have your panic attack on stage, but you sit on stage there. I will do all the work. I will start the show. I'll interview the guests. I will take the first caller. I'll throw the break. You put your ass out there, and we're going right now. And
Adam shook him a couple of times, slapped him across the face, and said, Christ, man, you're a doctor.
That's right.
What
Get
is
hold
a
of
panic
yourself.
attack?
He got up. He just stood up, put the bag down, and walked right out on stage. And I just yelled, all right, we'll do it live, like Bill O'Reilly.
That's right.
And we just started.
So basically, all he needed was somebody to tell him to stop the shit.
And he told me later, just knocked the shit right out of him. Like he just said, I didn't have to stop having a panic attack when she started yelling at me. Go out there.
By the way, I do want to point out last thing in this anxiety dog story. The only utterance of anything regarding anxiety is that she has anxiety.
Yes, everyone has anxiety.
Everybody has that
That's
now.
it.
That's
so
right.
I don't know if they saw a doctor about that. Some stupid news out of TMZ. Alicia Silverstone had fans freaking out over her health, with some even asking if she was still alive after she munched on what they identified as a poisonous berry. This next line deserves to be read in that TMZ VO. The actress was clearly clueless about her snack choice. Revealing in TikTok
your TMZ
clip.
voice?
That was terrible, dude.
Terrible.
I'm a one-trick pony. I can do me. You want to hear me?
I'm not sure which the one is, but yeah.
Know.
So let's see. She got a video of this?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. We got a picture of her not looking happy.
I believe it's a video.
Okay, I've discovered something that I can't figure out what it is, and I need your help. I just bit into it because I was on the street and we were discussing whether this was.
That's what you do. That's what you do.
It's definitely not.
Looks like a orange, weird berry thing.
Yeah.
Those are the leaves.
Size of a
so what
plum
the heck
tomato.
Is this?
A little
because when you open it up, it looks like that.
Yeah.
And if I bite it, I don't think you're supposed to eat this.
Yeah. Probably also not supposed to reach into someone else's property through their fence and take their fruit.
I don't know. Is that she's on the streets of England?
I don't know.
She's in England. Oh, come on, Dawson. You researched the story. You know where she is.
I read the article here.
Oh, does it say she's in England?
No.
I remember her being in England, so I must have heard it.
Okay, no, she's in New England, bro. Northern New England.
New England.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why did I hear England?
Because you heard England.
Oh, it's got the word England in it.
There you go.
She's in New England and ate this berry. All right. And then what was the answer? What did people say to her?
No, that's why it's fucking garbage. No official word yet on how Alicia's doing, but she posted a few Instagrams after
fans
the video.
online said
So it seems she survived.
Hold on. We got to get our story straight. I was told, fans told her it was a poisonous berry.
It was a Jerusalem cherry.
Oh, is that a poison berry? Right.
Yeah, they're saying, warning her that it was poisonous, so it could be deadly. So, yeah.
All right. That's the rest of the story.
Yeah. Well, that's the rest of the story.
Also, she is in England. Or she was in England, but the Northern New England Poison Center was the one that described the plan as having.
Yeah, there's no way we could figure any of this
Well,
out.
that's her fault.
I was told.
Okay. Oh, her latest UK adventure. There it is. All right. Yeah, you're right.
Just read the story in advance. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I was told it was in England, and she ate a berry.
It's funny. Yeah, I saw UK and I just read, ugh.
And then people told her that it was poisonous. Listen, I have mixed feelings about her poisoning herself because I went to an RFK Jr. event. I went to his birthday party.
Okay.
And, you know, for me, I didn't grow up in the foster system, but I was like foster system adjacent. Like, I didn't grow up in the foster system, but I think everyone who grew up in the foster system ate better than I did growing up. So when you tell me there's free food at Rich Guy's house, I'm always in. Always in. And RFK Jr. I'm a fan of. So I show up, big mansion in Bel Air, beautiful, and you walk in and it's a big spread, sushi. And they have a guy making it for you right there, like a station. You know, the guy's just making, and you know he's the best. Japanese guy's cooking, doing everything.
Yeah.
Free sushi, it's gonna be good. So then I go over there. I go, give me 10 pieces of sushi. This is sushi. I go sit down and eat. I'm like, not as good as what I thought it would be, you know. And then I start eating a little more, and then I'm like, doesn't even taste like not that good. And then I go, it's vegan sushi. It's vegan sushi. Oh, I go, there's no meat. There's no there's no fish in here. It's like, no, it's made of.
You can't do that. Doesn't sushi mean?
Yeah,
it should.
Okay.
All right. It's what it is it's made of like gelatin or something and orange dye number 4. You know, they have to dye it, make it look like a salmon and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then someone goes to me and goes, I don't know about this fake sushi, but why not? Someone goes, you know, they have sliders. I go, sliders? Yeah. Miniature hamburger? Yeah. I go, well, I like that. Go get the slider. Go to get the slider. Bite into the slider. Like, not as good as what I was kind of hoping for with this. Oh, it's a vegan slider. It's vegan. It's a slider. It's made of bean curd or whatever. And I'm like, it's not bad for something that does not have any cow in it, but I'd sure be happier if there was some.
Yeah.
And I was like, there was some Chinese thing over here or something. I went over there. It's like vegan. Yeah, well, it's not real chicken. And I'm like, okay, who the? There's 80 people here. There are no. Alicia Silverstone is the one who set up the diet for the food. She set the food up. I'm like, oh, she's vegan. What do you want to say to everyone who's vegan? You're vegan.
Right. Exactly.
You are vegan. The other 86 people here want real sushi, but you are vegan.
Yeah, these are things that Paul McCartney and Madonna make every single venue they go to play. You can't have any vegan or any meat.
Can't get a brat in a Madonna concert?
You certainly shouldn't have to accept it from them. But Alicia Silverstone?
I don't eat
the beauty
vegan.
is everyone is miserable at this place because we're all eating fake sushi. But she must be vegan. So that's
I would have been disappointed.
Listen,
and I know you. I
want to heads up.
I know you saved room in your belly for that event.
He
was excited.
Oh, it's gonna be some good shit.
It was gonna be real good.
Yeah. And let me tell you,
for the prawns.
The fake stuff, the vegan stuff, like vegan sushi. It looks better than regular sushi because it has to. If you walk in, you go, look at that. It's perfect. It looks perfect. They put grill marks in it and stuff. Not grill marks, but they'll stridate it so it looks like actual
because
salmon.
Some asshole once said you eat with your eyes first.
We got one life to live. We got one life to live, and I'm not dying a vegan.
Yeah.
My thing, my motto is I got one life. I got one life to live, and that cow's got half a life to live.
Exactly.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, Kiki Friedman always said, "I'm not vegan, but I eat animals who are." So, well, Starbucks, they hired a new CEO. I guess they hired the CEO of Chipotle.
Hey, can I ask you this, Terrence? You're too young to remember, but Dawson may have some thoughts, and Joe Prano may have some thoughts. Has the coffee house or the Starbucks or just the coffee place replaced video stores as the place that employs the freaks? Because when I was younger, you'd go into Odyssey Video, and the chick with the purple hair and the nose stud, and fat and whatever, Wiccan bitch, unemployable, in other words, was always working the video store. Always work. The dregs of society, the angry chicks, the aggressive piercing people, the fucked up tattoo, the colored hair, the people that really had no business working but needed to work. Those were the ones who worked at the video store because there was no Starbucks, there was no coffee house or coffee place. Now the video stores are gone and their kids all got a job at the Starbucks. Because when I walk in, that's what I see. I see the video store circa 1989.
I see Tower Records, but yes.
Tower Records, yes. Tower rent videos.
From my experience, the video store I worked at was full of freaks. You're exactly right, Adam.
Really?
Yeah, the manager was bald with a ponytail. Super cool guy.
When you're bald with a ponytail, you have to be cool. Because otherwise people won't put up with your shit. Yeah. Yeah, I think the video store, I think the coffee store, the coffee house, Starbucks, whatever it is, has taken over the dregs of society, the unemployable.
It's really
essentially.
It's really just Starbucks, to be honest.
Yeah, you're right.
I only run into the freaks at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Like if you go to coffee, is it Coffee Bean?
Not as freaky as
it's not as freaky as Starbucks. Starbucks, they employ all of the freaks.
Yes.
I mean, these people are like next level weird.
I agree, and then all the weird, groovy, this is a hate-free zone and all that shit. Why is it at the why coffee? You know what I mean? It's just a hot beverage that people, coffee used to be just consumed.
Poor people in Guatemala are breaking their backs to
It's
pick.
because they're doing fancy stuff with the coffee
it's the fancy shit.
Yeah, and you get a frappuccino with caramel, this and some sugar-free and some syrup and some cinnamon and some sugar.
I had a person order a latte, extra hot, light foam. Like he liked foam, but not that much. You know what I mean? Like he had like a directive on foam. Like he was going to drop a tape on it and go, you know what, I asked for light foam and there's 7/8 worth of foam on there. I was looking more in the 3/4 range. Like, how are you just doing that to have dominion over the person? And by the way, you're not going to get it that way. You're just going to get the way they do it.
An important door here, Terrence. What kind of foam do you like?
You light foam?
Well, yeah. These are the important things.
Very, very light.
How about your tub?
But not too light.
How about tub water? Medium foam?
I go in. My coffee. I just order black coffee with cream. And when I ask for black coffee and cream at Starbucks, they look at me crazy, huh?
Right.
Just black coffee with cream.
That's not going to take half an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
can I say this
because we're so used to all those
is this
customized orders.
Is this a COVID thing or something? But I order a coffee and with cream, just like you do. There's no waiting behind me. Boom, we're done in 15 seconds. But you guys tell me if this is a thing. I like a strong coffee with cream, but I like to be in charge of the cream. And the problem is it used to be out. And what you do is you go, good, because I know how much cream I like in my coffee.
Right.
Now, a guy pulls up a 1-gallon jug that's filled to the top, and he goes, all right, how much cream do you want? Get just a little splash, just a little. And they go like, glunk, glunk. And you go, yeah, good. And he goes, okay, and the thing's pale white. And you go, that's not what I wanted, but you had to do it. But if I could have done it, I could do it how I want it.
I request everything. I want my cream on the side and my sugar on the side.
You do it on the side.
On the side.
COVID took that away from us.
Do it on the side.
Now they have to give it to you in a little cup, but no longer do they have the station, the cream station.
I like the station.
I miss the station.
And if you want extra cream, just say, I want extra cream on the side.
Right.
Maybe if you
had business cards printed with the right color of beige that you like your coffee,
and I would
just
dip it like it was a toothpaste commercial. See what your teeth look like.
Or a paint commercial.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm working at Lowe's.
And Starbucks coffee, it tastes burnt too.
Well, Starbucks has sparked some outrage after revealing that its newest CEO will have the opportunity to work from home. In the UK, believe it or not.
In the UK?
Yeah.
I thought this guy was in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
What do I know?
As opposed to the company's headquarters in Seattle, Washington, the beloved coffee chain first shared a press release to announce the dude's new title. His name is Brian Nichol, after he spent 6 years working as the CEO of Chipotle. According to the deal, he will have the opportunity to work from home because he has a small remote office in Newport Beach, California, UK. In addition, he will not only have an assistant of his choosing at the remote office, but the office will also be maintained at the expense of the company.
You said
what is
Beach,
the salary?
California in the UK.
Yeah, I know. I'm just fucking around. I'm just recalling my
where is his
my
office?
TMZ story. It's in Newport Beach. It's in Newport Beach.
But he gets to work from the UK.
I said UK because of the TMZ story. That just went over everybody's head.
I didn't go over our heads. We were confused because
I know.
we'd been 10 minutes since we talked about the
You're
UK.
right. All right.
But then at some point when I said I thought this was in California, that's when you start laughing real hard and yell, gotcha.
Okay.
They should hire a black CEO now.
Yeah.
I think they have to.
Yeah, they have to.
I like my
Or else
CEOs
they're
black.
racist.
Like I like my coffee. This guy, listen, if you can get your work done, then you should be able to do it from wherever you want and fuck everyone else. So let him stay home. And also this thing where they go, he's telling his employees to do this while he's doing that. Like, let me tell you how CEOs work. This guy's flying private while we're flying commercial. Yeah, that's why he's the CEO. That's how that shit works. He gets a parking spot right in front with his name on. We got to take the shuttle in from the remote line. Yeah, bitches, that's why you want to be the CEO.
Right.
All right, let's see. I'm nervous, but one more, Dawson. Do we have one more?
I was delivered 4 stories, bro.
4 stories. Yeah. All right. Committed them to memory, and that's it.
Yep. I just read them, and then I read them on here, and then, upset you a little bit. It's all par for the course.
I'm not upset.
That's all right.
I was just verbally told that this is what the story was.
No, I know, and I glanced at the story. I'm traveling this weekend, so I got 8 million other jobs besides this one. And so I got here, I read the stories, I must have missed it. I got a lot on my mind. I missed the UK thing. And then I saw Northern New England, and I'm like, well, there's no Northern New England Poison Center.
Yeah.
Must be there.
I feel like Dawson
don't watch TMZ.
That makes sense, yeah.
I don't watch TMZ either.
I watch TMZ religiously.
I can't do it.
Well, where was the TMZ story? Was that
Alicia Silverstone eating poison berries.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that story because I was out of town. That's what the problem was.
All right. Well, so was Alicia Silverstone, apparently. Did you know she was in the UK?
She was in the UK eating poisonous berries.
Absolutely.
All right. Let me give Terrence a plug. And Dawson, you got any shows coming up?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be at the Mountain Music Festival this weekend in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, introducing bands, hanging out with Tesla, Foghat 38 Special.
Terrence, you grew up on Tesla and Foghat, right? I mean, in the community and all.
Absolutely.
Being 32 years of age.
I'm a faster pussycat, Slaughter.
Do you have any idea who Foghat or Tesla
I have
is?
no clue at all.
Yeah.
No, I would guess no on that.
I know who Tupac and Snoop. I know Tupac and Snoop Dogg.
It's not a two-way street with the blacks because we bend over backwards to. I'm down with Tupac. I know what Tupac is. We don't go fucking Tesla. I don't know what the fuck that is.
I'm down with Tesla.
Yeah. But if you're in the area and you buy a one-day pass,
this is Tesla
you'll see me. No, that's probably Foghat.
I don't know if it's Foghat or Tesla. I don't know where they got.
I guarantee you that's not Tesla. That's
Given Charles Manson.
How do you know? You just know what they look like, or is it like?
I know what Tesla looks like. I also know Tesla's first record came out in like '88 or '89.
That wouldn't have been dressed
they didn't look like that.
No, that's a big mustache.
Yeah, that's Foghat.
All right.
But yeah, if you buy a one-day pass on Saturday, you'll see me do a stand-up show with Jim Florentine and Izzy Presley and Don Jameson and Courtney Cronin and Hal Sparks. And that's inside
Terrence,
the festival.
Hal Sparks pretty big in the community.
We used to jam to that all the time.
No, that's
we were in the hood bumping that.
He's not in a band. He's not in a band. He's a comedian. All right. We'll take a break. Dawson, you get a nap in. Terrence, I'll give you a plug. The Terrence K. Williams Show, available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and more. Website, Terrence. Now I'm trying to think. Yeah, Terrence K. Williams. Sorry, when you run it all together, it looks weird. TerrenceKWilliams.com is Williams.com is where you go. Ian O'Connor is a very celebrated author and just wrote the Aaron Rodgers, definitive Aaron Rodgers book. Is going to zoom in. And Aaron Rodgers, by the way, Joe sat down with him, according to Mike. So it's sort of unauthorized, but we were talking about it, and I was like, does Aaron care? But I guess he sat down with Ian. So we'll get to the bottom of Aaron Rodgers and Ian O'Connor as well. And we'll do all that right after this. Ethos Life Insurance. Could you run into a burning building or fight a bear to protect your family? I got a couple of family members I'd fight a bear for, but most of them, I'd climb a tree. Thankfully, you don't have to. Protect your loved ones with Ethos. Affordable life insurance, quick, easy, all online with no medical exams. Just answer a few health questions for a quote and apply for coverage at ethos.com/Adam. You got to have life insurance. It's important. It's part of being a responsible father and husband and all that stuff. Don't think my dad has it, but he's not responsible. You are. See your rates in minutes. Term life policies start as low as $10 a month. I mean, you spend way more than that on coffee. Personalized coverage to your family's needs, like helping your kids through college, your spouse with the mortgage, and more. Affordable options from 10 to 30 years of coverage. It's Ethos, right, Dawson?
Protect your family today. Get up to $2 million in term life insurance coverage in 10 minutes with Ethos. Answer just a few health questions and get your free quote at ethoslife.com/Adam. That's ETHOS life.com/Adam.
O'Reilly Auto Parts are in the business of keeping your car on the road. Friendly, helpful service and parts and knowledge. All the stuff you need to maintain and repair your automobile. I've been with these guys for a million years. I always wear my O'Reilly hat when I'm walking around. People think I'm smart. And I am, because I use O'Reilly. Used to use the one up on Foothill in La Crescenta back in the day. I get my parts. I like to do it, hands-on. They got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in store or online. Never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of the car. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find it and just the right battery that'll work in your vehicle. Also, windshield wipers replaced, brake lights fixed, quick service. They'll help you find the right part and point you in the right direction of a shop that can help you install this stuff if you need it. They're professional parts people. That's what they are. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you can go in and do it, or you can go online and get your stuff. At O'Reilly, it's easy. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit them online, O'Reilly.com/Adam. Yeah, let them know I sent you. O'ReillyAuto.com, O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace Man, Mike, former Green Beret, current firefighter out of Florida. Love the show. Just took my family on a vacation. Took my wife to get a drink in a douchey hotel and came up with a new rich man, poor man. Using the phrase, "Do you know who my father is?" Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Ian O'Connor is joining us. He's got a new book out. It's available as we speak on Amazon or wherever you find a book. Out of the Darkness, The Mystery of Aaron Rodgers. I'm intrigued, so good to see you, Ian.
Thanks for having me, Adam. I'm a longtime fan of your work, so I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. I would say the same about you, but I've never read a book. But I'm intrigued by Aaron Rodgers. I really am. First, I guess, let's talk ability, because I've spent a lot of time around football and watching football. there's the kind of stuff where you can work hard and drill and work and drill and practice and scheme and prepare like Tom Brady. And then there's a kind of natural gift, like a sort of flick of the wrist. Like when Aaron Rodgers throws the ball, he does it with some natural ability, like Darryl Strawberry swinging a bat. It's just sort of God's gift kind of thing. Do you agree with that statement?
Oh, yeah, Adam. I think you played a pretty good level of football in your day, as I recall reading about your youth. So you know a good football player when you see one. And, yeah, the two best throwers of the football. Well, I think Aaron's the best thrower of the football ever. And you could put Mahomes up there, but the two most talented guys to ever play that position are Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. There's no comparison physically between Aaron and Tom Brady, and yet Brady has the 7 championship rings and Aaron has 1. Right. So how did that happen? I think that's a great question about his career. And so he didn't have Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest coach of all time, as his head coach. And so he didn't have that Patriot system supporting him and elevating him like Tom Brady did. But if you look physically at those two players particularly, there's no comparison. Aaron is as talented as anyone ever. But he didn't have the same support around him, defense, special teams, coaching, that hurt him at times. And he's responsible for some of it in the postseason. But, yeah, so it's hard to believe that guy has only 1 Super Bowl ring.
You think he'll have another with the Jets?
I hope so. A, that would be very good for my book. B, I think that he's too good to retire with 1 ring. It's just, and the Jets, and I've been in this market covering sports for 37 years in New York, and they haven't, I always say this, Jets fans hate it, they have not appeared in a Super Bowl since Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon. That is a long time.
Wow.
And Jets fans have been through a ton. I was 4 years old when Joe Namath won the Super Bowl. I don't remember it.
Right.
And so I'm about to turn 60. I would like to see it once in my life. And I think Jets fans feel the same way.
Well, getting back to Aaron Rodgers, do you think Aaron Rodgers thinks Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon? Now, for those who listen to Aaron,
I'm not sure he does, actually.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that sounds hyperbolic, or maybe just a guy cracking wise or making a joke, but I wouldn't be, and I don't think he's kooky out there flat earther, but if you said to me, look, we're going to make a sizable bet, does Aaron Rodgers think the moon landing was a hoax or not? I would go, that's a tough one.
I don't know if I would bet the ranch on hoax, but I would bet 3 mortgage payments on hoax.
You would?
So,
okay.
Yeah, I would. I didn't ask him that question. I got to sit with him for 2 hours on the Pacific Ocean at his home in Malibu. That was very nice. And I didn't know how much time he was going to give me. I thought it might be 25 minutes before he kicked me out. So I had to throw questions overboard. That was one of them that didn't make the cut. I had to focus on other things. But that's a very good question.
I've heard him speak, and I like that he's kind of the Rosie Greer of his time. And the reason I say that is Rosie Greer, like needlepoint and many other thoughts and endeavors that were beyond the gridiron, And I feel like that's who Aaron Rodgers is. And I think he's pretty thoughtful, and he's interesting. And I agree with him on a lot of the COVID stuff and all that. But I think he may be going deeper and further into it than we thought. There's a kind of a first level conspiracy thinking, and sort of first level conspiracy thinking is, well, you take the Trump assassination, right? There's like 3 stratas. There's, it was just some kid who'd been, weaponized by the internet, and he just snuck onto a roof and took a shot at Trump. That's like sort of first level. And then second level is like, well, look, the Secret Service may not have had their best and brightest assigned to Trump because, let's face it, the people making that decision are the people who would like Trump not to be in the Oval Office. So maybe there's something there. And then there's a third strata, And that one is this guy was, weaponized by Russia and is a, Manchurian candidate or whatever. I'll hang between the first and the second one, but I feel like Aaron may be going third strata on a lot of these theories.
Yeah, he did. And it started with the base level conspiracies in high school. As a sophomore, he studied the JFK assassination for a project or a school paper. And so that started his fascination with conspiracy theories. But that's a base one. I think most Americans probably feel now that was a conspiracy, right? UFOs, I believe in, and he does. And that's another base one. And I think that, he's gotten to a point where he's out there. He's pretty far out there. But his life first changed with the COVID stance and the comment in August of 21 when he was asked if he was vaccinated. And he said, yeah, I've been immunized. Those 4 words changed his entire life, and I think put him on a path to talk about these conspiracy theories in the public arena. I asked him at his home, I said, Aaron, I was vaxxed at the time, but if I were a columnist sitting in that room when you were asked that question and you told your truth, which was he was allergic to PEG and Pfizer and Moderna, and he was concerned about Johnson & Johnson side effects, I'm pretty sure I would not have hammered you in my column that day because I find that to be a somewhat reasonable position. Why didn't you just say that? And he effectively admitted he made a mistake and should have said that. And he never admits mistakes in any context. So I was surprised he admitted that. And he didn't change his stance on the vaccine at all. But if he had said that, I really think, Adam, he would have gotten less than half the criticism he ultimately got a few months later when the truth came out. And he has not recovered from that public relations hit at all. And then I think what happened is the media turned on him. The media that used to praise him for social issues that he supported Kaepernick and some other issues that he was involved with, that the media thought he was on the right side of those issues, suddenly attacked him. And I think he dug in and he was willing to fight the war. And I think that led to more public discussion from his end about conspiracy theories. Some of them are pretty far out there.
Yeah. I just heard a study out of the UK, and basically nobody under 50 who was healthy died of COVID. It was always comorbidities or whatever. So anyway, we should have never gotten our kids vaccinated if they were healthy. So I do side with Aaron on that. I also get the lying part. Like, my girlfriend I didn't want to get vaccinated either because I was not a conspiracy theorist. I'd been living with COVID for a year and a half or 2 years or something before I got vaccinated. And I was like, I either got this or I didn't get it. I've been everywhere. I've traveled everywhere. I shook everyone's hand. I did every single thing they told me not to do with COVID. I did it. So I'm like, either I got it or I don't got it, but I don't need a vaccine because I would have had it by now, or I did have it and I didn't know it. But my girlfriend kept pressuring me to do it, and I didn't want to do it. But also, I had to travel and go to restaurants and stuff like that. So she made me an appointment for 2 vaxes, the double, whatever that one was. And I went in and got the 1 vax and then got the card and never came back. So I got but I would lie. I'd flash the card and tell I didn't get the second part of the vax. I got the first part of the vax, which I don't even know what that means. Was I fully vaxxed? Was I half vaxxed? I didn't give a shit. I just needed this card and didn't want to go to MacArthur Park and buy it off a Mexican. So I just got it from CVS in Malibu and just would show it everywhere. And their system was so bad that you had to have 2 vaccines in order to be fully vaccinated, but they gave you the card after the first vaccine, and that's all I needed. And no one ever read it close enough to know what was on it. I just would flash the card. So I'm kind of with Aaron on that. But I would lie. I lied to people. I just show them the card and tell them I got a double vax. I lied to them because they forced me to lie because I didn't want to get this vax, but they wouldn't let me into the restaurant if I didn't get it. So I agree, though. He seemed to have a viable excuse, is what I would agree with.
He said he would have gotten destroyed anyway, and he did. I just think he took a lot more than he would have taken had he just told the truth at that point. And he said, I'm not getting vaccinated, but he uses his body. That's his job. That's his career. He needs his body to be in optimal shape at all times. I don't, as an author and journalist, but so anything that would impact his body in any way is the difference between winning and losing and just being an all-time great or not being an all-time great. So I understand that his decision was different from mine.
Right.
And I did get vaccinated, but I'm open-minded to other views. And his other view was, listen, I was concerned this was going to impact my health, my body, which would then impact my entire life because I'm a professional quarterback. I'm one of the best ever. I want to continue being that. So I acknowledge that his decision was different from mine. But I just, man, I thought that the lie ended up getting him crushed far more than he would have been had he told his truth.
Well, the lie always gets you. Although I'm not sure if we're serious about it as a nation. We kind of tend to, we force people sometimes into a lie, and then they lie, and then we go, you lied, and that's worse than whatever we accused you of, which happens frequently. It happens in the court of law a lot of the time. The lie is what gets you more time than the actual accusation. But I still wonder if it's, first off, why lying is pretty ubiquitous in 2021. I don't know why we're so disgusted or surprised by it. Every time a politician speaks into a microphone, they lie for 45 minutes. So why are we so caught off guard and upset? It's like masturbation. Like, you catch your 16-year-old son masturbating, you shouldn't be surprised or upset, since that's all everyone does all day, every day at age 16. But I'll file lying under that. But is he an arrogant person?
Yes, but all the greats I've covered in sports are arrogant. They have to be.
Yeah.
I think Aaron is like pretty much every great athlete or coach I've profiled in over the better part of 4 decades. If they admit, and I understand that maybe that's why he lied, and I was surprised why he admitted the mistake to me, because if you admit weakness or faults or some sort of failure, I think the greats in sports fear that will follow them into the competitive arena. And that's not a good thing when you need to have blind belief in yourself and almost feel like you're invincible to achieve at the highest level in professional sports, to become an all-time great, a Hall of Famer. And so the arrogance doesn't bother me. Everyone I've ever covered who's been great is arrogant. So I guess maybe I should have been arrogant too. Maybe I am. I don't think I am, but perhaps people see me differently. But the all-time greats just have to have that blind belief in themselves. And that is, I really refer to it more as competitive arrogance. Now, I do think sometimes Aaron wants to let you know he is the smartest guy in every room he's ever walked into. He got 1310 on his SATs. That's better than my score. So he's smarter than I am. And I accept that. But I think he wants everyone to know all the time that I'm smarter than you, I'm smarter than you. And that has gotten him in trouble. And it's unfortunate his image is the way he is, because I talk to a lot of his friends in the book, and they tell stories. They're frustrated because they see the other Aaron, who's great with their children, who would fly across the country to go to a 3-year-old's birthday party because he's the godfather of that. That's Randall Cobb's son in Nashville, Tennessee. He flew from California, and Randall Cobb said, how many people you know would fly that distance to attend a 3-year-old's birthday party? But Aaron Rodgers would do that.
Randall Cobb is a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, right? Retired.
And then he was with the Jets with Aaron, too, briefly.
Right.
So, but he's one of his longtime friends. But he was just telling me these are stories that we all have and want to share. His Aaron's agent with CAA, his marketing guy, Ed Berry, said that he wants to publicize some of the acts of kindness and generosity behind the scenes, and Aaron doesn't want any part of it. So he's a frustrating client to have, because I'm trying to counter the negativity in the media, and Aaron doesn't let me. So,
well, you're talking about a guy who, before the controversy was a, darling of Madison Avenue, and now is sort of unemployable in that realm. And regardless of how much he's making with his NFL contract, there's obviously millions and tens and hundreds of millions being left on the table from Procter & Gamble and, whatever insurance company, Geico, and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, State Farm had him for a long time and then shifted to the controversy-free Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And that was interesting. Now, Mahomes is a great, great player. But Aaron, with the off-field things he got involved with, the issues and controversies. They didn't have to worry about that with Patrick Mahomes,
right?
Because he's the Derek Jeter of the NFL. So he has cost himself some money off the field. I don't think he cares about that. And he is, as you know, a fearless public speaker. And on a certain level, I really respect and appreciate that because I'm not, and very few people are. So he is willing to defend all of his beliefs, state them clearly, and pay the consequences for that. And I do have an appreciation for someone willing to do that publicly.
I do too, because you have to know that in this new world order, if you start piping up about something like COVID or Black Lives Matter, certainly a couple of years ago, or you pick the subject, Donald Trump, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a lot of money. So basically what you're saying is my opinion is worth tens of thousands and millions of dollars for the freedom to give. I will leave a lot of money on the table in order to express my opinion. And to me, I don't really need to agree with your opinion one way or another. You have character, at least, if that's what you do. And I'm fine. Now, that's not the same as getting caught with a DUI or punching a girlfriend in an elevator, because that is you're gonna end up in the same place, which is Allstate's gonna drop you, but that's not character. What about his family? Is he estranged from his family? I know his brother was on The Bachelor,
The Bachelorette.
Oh, The Bachelorette.
His brother Jordan, yeah.
Right.
The estrangement had already kicked in 2014, and then that was a couple of years later where Jordan goes on The Bachelorette, and they filmed a scene. This really bothered Aaron a lot, where the family's at the dinner table, and they left two empty chairs, one representing Aaron's absence and the other representing Olivia Munn's absence, his girlfriend at the time. And Aaron was really pissed off about that and just felt like his younger brother was using the estrangement now to try to further his TV career. And Aaron said, first of all, I wasn't even invited to that filming. I'm not saying I would have gone, but that if you're going to put the empty chair there, at least there should be an invitation on the front end of that scene. And I actually agree with him on that. I'm sure it was a producer who just said, hey, why don't we have these two empty chairs in place? And everyone said, oh, okay, go ahead. But they went along with it. And so there's a lot there. That estrangement is very complicated. I went into the project thinking there was one defined reason, issue, or development that started it. The parents and family members, a lot of them blame Olivia Munn. I think he hasn't dated her in 7 years, and the estrangement still is ongoing, so it can't be all her fault. So I think Aaron had ideas that the family was revolving too much around his success and fame and fortune. Olivia, I think, notarized those ideas. That's her role in it. But there's a lot of other things there. It's very complex. He's a complicated guy, so I guess it's fitting. It's unfortunate. But I did have a scene in my book where last summer at Lake Tahoe, Aaron, who hadn't seen his dad in 9 years, his dad was in the crowd. He was playing the celebrity golf tournament, and his dad, Ed Rodgers, put himself there hoping to be seen. Aaron's playing the ninth hole, and he sees his dad in the crowd. And he asks himself, do I go over there? Do I act like I didn't see him? Do I act like I'm on the phone, ignore him? And for some reason, he decided today's the day I'm going to hug my dad. So he goes over. Ed Rodgers had actually lost sight of him for a minute and turns around, and there's his son staring at him from 15 feet away. And he told me he froze because he forgot what that feeling felt like, that his son was in his presence and looking at him. So Aaron walked up, hugged him, said, I love you, Pops. And Ed Rodgers said, I love you too, son. And Ed was crying, and Aaron went back, and it was a 30-second moment. Aaron had to finish his golf round. There was no real follow-up, but both told me for the book. Aaron said this for the first time since the estrangement started in 2014 publicly. I want to have a relationship with one of my family members, my father. And then hopefully, if that happens, the family unit will fall back into place.
So it's his brother, his mom, his father. Are there any other?
He's got two. Yeah, there's an older brother, Luke. There's Jordan, the younger brother who went on The Bachelorette, and then Ed and Darla, his parents. He doesn't talk to a couple of aunts who were close to him when he was growing up, his grandmother. He does talk to an uncle. This people thought it was a family-wide estrangement. He does actually talk to an uncle and two of his cousins. So he has that relationship anyway, but outside of that, nothing.
What is that? I mean, I'm not a huge fan of my family either, but the estrangement feels like more work than it's worth. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been a fan of my family members per se, but I'm not going to, I'll see them on Thanksgiving and, come for a visit. Like, it seems like more work. It's not worth the squeeze,
Well, I'm trying to look at it from Aaron's perspective because he's driving the estrangement. It's on his terms. If he wants to end it, it will end.
Right.
And I come from a big Irish Catholic family. We've certainly had our share of issues. And so I think most American families have issues. These are extreme, and it's gone on way too long. But Aaron, I think he's trying to figure out how to end it, I think. And he told me he's felt close to reconciliation and then something weird will happen and he backs away. Mm-hmm. So I said to him, well, he did say publicly, okay, I want a relationship with my dad. And I actually drove his parents to the 9/11 game last September, the only game Aaron played in as a Jet. That was an interesting experience because it's the only time his parents are ever in the same room with Aaron. It's a big room, 80,000 people, but they have gone to some games with the Packers at Lambeau Field and then at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey for his one and done game with the Jets because they're parents and he's their flesh and blood. And it's the only time they get a chance to be with them. So I took them to the game and his mother beforehand was saying she does worry before big games and thinking that he's the quarterback. There's a target on his back and the whole defense is after him. I'm always afraid of injury. Well, that night, 4 snaps in, his Achilles snaps, and that's the end of his season. So driving them home that night was a very surreal experience. It was very somber and just a difficult thing to go through.
What have you said to Aaron's dad? What's with the estrangement? Like, why are we here? You know what I mean? Like, your son's a very successful athlete. He's a thoughtful guy, interesting guy, deep guy. Maybe disagree on a couple subjects, but what are we even doing here?
I sat with Ed in Chico, where they're from, Chico, California, and he was saying that he thought Aaron had a hard time sort of finding a way to start the reconciliation. He has a hard time figuring out how to make the first move. And I said to him, why don't you make the first move? Now, as a journalist and author, I'm not supposed to get involved. As much as a human being and I'm a dad, I want to help if I can. So I said that to him and he said, I think I will. So that's when he went to the golf tournament. He may have already had the ticket. I'm not saying that my comment inspired him to go to that golf tournament and get the hug. But I do think Aaron looks at this now as, how do I kill off this living organism? That's what this estrangement has become. It's its own entity. And it's almost easier not to confront it and just let it linger because it's hard now for him to end this. It's going to take work.
Now, listen, I get that when there's a beef or a situation or an estrangement, each year it gathers a little interest, becomes a little harder, people become more calcified, and it starts to take on its own energy. And then it's sort of like we're not talking because we're not talking, not because I can even remember what the incident was, Exactly. And then the first move, it just becomes I understand it. I kind of I don't say I respect it. I can feel it. We've all had that situation where each passing day it gets a little further away and a little harder to make that first move, and maybe that's where he is with this.
Well, you could argue certainly the first move was last summer at Lake Tahoe. Why hasn't there been a second move? Now, maybe there's been some electronic communication in recent months that I'm not aware of between the two, but hopefully, listen, if he could win a Super Bowl with the Jets, it would be the greatest story ever in New York sports, at least in my lifetime. And I think it's doable. I actually think it's possible that could happen. What would be great is if his family could be on the field with him like they were when he won the Super Bowl for Green Bay, 13 years ago. If they could celebrate that on the field with him, that would be a real special scene and moment. So let's hope it happens.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the beef with my buddy, Jimmy Kimmel, which is covered in the book as well.
Sure.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so this is my opinion on it. And I talked to Aaron a little bit about it. He had talked a lot in the media about it. So It wasn't something I visited with him one-on-one to any great length, but I really believe that he did not intend on that show to talk about Jimmy Kimmel and on Pat McAfee's show, great show that he's on regularly. And so they're talking about the Super Bowl logo conspiracy, the colors of the Super Bowl logo. Eventually, the teams that have those colors end up in the game. How does that happen? I think they were half joking about it. But McAfee's co-host, AJ Hawk, who used to play with Aaron in Green Bay, blurted out, doesn't that have something to do with the Epstein list? And instead of ignoring the comment, because Aaron wasn't talking about the Epstein list, as far as I recall, he ran with it. And he has been trying to get back at Jimmy for mocking him months earlier on his show about Aaron suggesting that the government was releasing information about UFOs to divert attention away from the pending release of the Epstein list. So that's a mouthful. Mm-hmm. But Aaron he never lets go of a grudge or a slight. And he was waiting for a moment to get back at Jimmy Kimmel for that. And AJ Hawk handed him the moment. Mm-hmm. But that was the wrong time to do it. It was the wrong subject matter. And I really don't believe he was suggesting that Jimmy Kimmel would end up being on that list. But if you were a viewer and you didn't know the backstory, it sure sounded like it. And Aaron then tried to explain it away days later, and it's too late. You know how it works, Adam, certainly in your business. Once it's out there and once you start trying to explain it, you've lost. It's over. So I personally, a lot of people disagree with this, don't think he was trying to suggest that Jimmy would be on that list. But that's the way it was taken. It was a self-inflicted wound. It's certainly not the first or the last from him. And he had to live with the fallout.
Yeah, the controversy was many think he was suggesting Jimmy was on that list, and others, including Aaron.
And by the way, given your history with Jimmy, what do you think?
Oh, he's been on the Long Island Lolita. No, what's that plane called? What is that plane called? What is Epstein's plane called? Someone will put it on my Lolita Express. Sorry, I got my Lolitas mixed up.
Well, do you think Aaron meant to suggest that? Because I don't. But it got taken.
I didn't take it. Here's what it was for me. At first, I just heard what everyone else heard and assumed that's what he was implying. Then, when it was explained that it was in the context of a conspiracy theory more than implying that Jimmy was on the plane, I bought that. Here's the thing: there's plausible deniability, and I'll usually buy it. If somebody said, hey, you're the security guard and you happen to be gone the 5 minutes that the warehouse was robbed. And the guy goes, I had to take a piss. And you go, but during that exact 5 minutes, that's when you left to take a piss? And he went, that's when I had to pee. I would think to myself, I don't know, but I can't say no. Because maybe he did take a piss during that exact 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So I will always give people the sort of grace of an explanation. I don't like the bullshit explanations, when the guy goes, I got pulled over and I got arrested for DUI, but because I wouldn't take the breathalyzer. And it's like, well, were you drinking? No, I was not. Then why wouldn't you take a breathalyzer? I wasn't drinking. Now I'm like, all right, that guy's full of shit. But this is plausible deniability. So also, when millionaires feud over nothing, I tend not to get as involved as I do with certain things. I'm not trying to diminish it, but like what I'm saying is Aaron Rodgers leads a pretty good life. Jimmy Kimmel leads a pretty good life, and I think they'll both land on their feet. They're both very successful in their chosen fields. Aaron may land on his feet and tear his Achilles, but either way, for me, it falls under the heading of I just don't know how concerned I should be while there's, bombs going off in Lebanon. You know what I'm saying?
If you remember, Jimmy wanted an apology, and he said he would drop it. And Aaron did not really give an apology because that speaks to what I said earlier. Once you start admitting weaknesses and faults and mistakes and saying I'm sorry, people like Aaron don't do that. That's why I think that's part of the reason why they're all-time greats, because they just don't allow that failure to be part of them, to be attached to them. They don't want to carry that into the arena that they compete in. And he was not going to say, "I'm sorry, Jimmy," and he didn't.
And also, when you do know people well, like I know Jimmy well, it becomes laughable when you think about him, hanging out with Epstein or going on his island or flying on his plane. It sounds so absurd. But I realize the public doesn't, they think these rich Hollywood types, schmoozing with their celebrity friends, like it just, any kind of womanizing and that kind of stuff, it just sounds sort of laughable to me. Like when you know a guy and that's just not who he is. It's like an impossibility. But so what's Aaron? I mean, how many years does he have left in the league? And then is there a kind of a Tom Brady arc? Because what's Brady? Brady played about 5 more years than Aaron thus far.
Yeah, Brady, of course, left and won a Super Bowl, left New England and won one with Tampa Bay without Belichick. So that was a very sort of validating achievement for him. And I think he's turning 41 in December. I think he wants to give the Jets 2 good seasons. Obviously, last year doesn't count. So and I think he might play a third. And his arm is still terrific. It's his legs. His legs no longer his arm can still elevate receivers. His legs can no longer elevate offensive linemen and buy them extra time. So that's the problem. The Jets have to protect them. They have to have a solid offensive line. And if they do, with the talent on their roster, I think they can certainly be a playoff team, maybe a Super Bowl contender. That's not out of the question. And if Aaron wins one in New York, it's going to feel like 3 championships, really. For that franchise? Yeah. Maybe not for the Giants, because the Giants won somewhat recently in 2010/11. Jets, again, they haven't won since January of '69. So, that's going to be an amazing achievement if he can pull it off.
Well, if he does, I think Madison Avenue maybe not Procter & Gamble, but I think his phone may start ringing again. Maybe it's for edibles or something. But you win the Super Bowl as the Jets quarterback, make sure and give the number 1 finger when you're jogging off the field. And I just feel like somebody's going to cut him a check. That's me knowing humans. Who are you thinking about? You've done Belichick. You've done Aaron Rodgers now. Who else are you thinking about?
Can I just say one thing? By the way, Johnson & Johnson is basically his employer, Woody Johnson.
Right.
His brother, Christopher Johnson. And I asked Aaron, I'll answer your question. I'm sorry, Adam, but do you ever talk to Woody Johnson about not taking the Johnson & Johnson vaccine? You ever even joke about it? He said, I joke about it with Christopher, his brother, who's a vice chairman of the Jets. He said, we have joked about it. So I thought that was a good thing. It maybe showed Christopher got it and understood it's okay to joke about it. But as far as next, I've always felt like I had a Tiger Woods book in me. At some point, I covered the vast majority of his career. There have been other Tiger books, including one very good one. But I do feel like before I die, I'd like to write that one. At some point, I want to write a book about a figure outside of sports. And so I've kicked around a couple of thoughts, but I definitely do want to take on that challenge.
Well, might I suggest one Adam Carolla, perhaps? I'll send my bio.
That's a pretty good idea. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, you like it.
Do you think, and let me ask you a question. Do you think Jimmy Kimmel would talk to me for that book after I wrote this one?
No, not until you take a Silkwood shower from that Aaron Rodgers interview you did for this one. Then perhaps.
Okay, got it.
Ian O'Connor, thank you so much. The book, Out of the Darkness, The Mystery of Aaron Rodgers, is available on Amazon or wherever you find finer books. Good to speak to you, Ian.
Thanks so much, Adam, for having me. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. All right, tomorrow, 2 shows over at Kimmel's Club in Las Vegas, and then off to Boise, Idaho, and Albany, Oregon, and Corona, California. Just go to AmPro.com for all the live shows. And until next time, this is Adam Well, so my whole name, Adam Carolla, for Ian O'Connor and Terrence K. Williams and Dawson saying mahalo.